There is someone in your life who eats just as much food as you do every single day. Maybe they eat even more than you do, yet somehow their stomach stays completely flat. You have probably decided they were simply born with better genetics than you were. But that explanation is wrong, and the real science tells a very different story. The true difference between you and them happens before 9 in the morning arrives. It happens before either of you has eaten a single bite of breakfast that day. Here is something almost nobody ever explains clearly about how stubborn belly fat actually forms. Your body makes a critical decision within the first 60 minutes after you wake up. It decides whether today will be a day spent burning fat or protecting it instead. Most people accidentally choose protection mode before they even reach for their toothbrush that morning. This has nothing to do with what you eat or how often you exercise weekly. It comes down to 7 completely ordinary morning habits quietly working against your metabolism daily. Here is the part that genuinely stopped me cold the first time I learned this. Not a single one of these 7 habits has anything to do with food itself. Not one of them involves exercise, willpower, or anything you would expect to blame. Every single one of them happens before breakfast, before any calories enter the picture. I'm going to walk you through exactly what these 7 habits are today, together. I will show you why each one works against your biology without you ever realizing it. Then I will give you the simple routine that flips every single habit in your favor. Stay with me until we reach habit number 4, because that one will surprise you. Wellness influencers recommend it constantly, yet it is quietly sabotaging your belly fat every day. But before we start, I want you to answer something honestly inside your own head. Do you wake up feeling tired even after getting a completely full night of sleep? Do you need coffee just to function like a normal, capable human being each morning? Do you carry stubborn belly fat that refuses to move no matter what you try? Do you feel hungry again just 2 hours after finishing a completely full meal earlier? If you answered yes to even 2 of those questions, listen closely to this video. You are making the exact same mistakes I am about to reveal to you now. And none of this, absolutely none of it, has ever actually been your fault before. Nobody ever sat you down and explained any of this information to you clearly. Before we go further, think about the very first thing you do every single morning. Now let's get into the actual biology behind why belly fat forms the way it does. Your body operates using 2 completely opposite modes that can never run at the same time. There is fat-burning mode and there is survival mode, and they constantly compete for control. In fat-burning mode, cortisol stays low, insulin stays low, and stored fat gets used for energy. In survival mode, cortisol spikes high, insulin spikes high, and your body clings to every pound. Every single morning, your body quietly decides which of these 2 modes will run your entire day. That decision gets made within the first 60 minutes after you open your eyes. Here's what makes belly fat specifically different from fat stored anywhere else on your body. Visceral fat, the fat wrapped tightly around your internal organs, has 3 times more cortisol receptors. 3 times more receptors than fat located anywhere else across your entire body structure. That means when cortisol stays elevated in the morning, your belly becomes the primary storage target. Not your arms, not your legs, not your face, but specifically the fat around your belly. This is not some wellness theory floating around online without evidence behind it whatsoever. This is measurable, well-documented hormone biology that scientists have studied for decades now. So once you understand what unnecessarily spikes cortisol during those first 60 minutes, everything starts changing. 7 ordinary habits are doing exactly this to you right now without your awareness. Let us walk through each one of them together, starting with the very first habit. Habit number 1 is checking your phone the very second you wake up each morning. Be completely honest with yourself for a moment before we continue any further today. Your phone probably serves as your alarm clock, so your hand reaches for it instantly. Within 30 seconds of waking up, you are already scrolling through emails, news, and social media. Something appears on your screen that raises your blood pressure before your feet even touch the floor. Here is the problem your brain cannot solve in that exact stressful moment each morning. It cannot tell the difference between a phone notification and an actual physical threat nearby. All your brain registers is stimulation, urgency, and stress flooding in within seconds of waking. So it responds the only way it fundamentally knows how to respond to danger signals. It floods your entire system with cortisol, stacking directly on top of naturally rising morning cortisol. That double spike is precisely what triggers your belly to start storing fat before your day begins. A study published in a major research journal in early 2025 proved something remarkable. Participants who blocked mobile internet access for just 14 days saw major cognitive improvements afterward. Their sustained attention scores improved by an amount equal to reversing a full decade of decline. If simply removing the phone did that much good within only 2 weeks of testing, imagine years. Imagine what checking your phone every single morning has quietly done to your cortisol over time. The fix here is refreshingly simple and costs you absolutely nothing financially to implement today. Avoid your phone for the first 30 minutes after waking, no matter how tempting it feels. Your inbox will survive completely fine without you, and your belly will genuinely thank you later. Habit number 2 involves drinking coffee before you drink any water at all each morning. Picture this familiar scene happening in your own kitchen almost every single morning right now. Your eyes are barely open, your feet hit the floor, and you walk straight toward the coffee machine. You pour yourself a cup before doing anything else productive with your entire morning routine. It feels absolutely necessary, like the only possible way to become a functioning human being again. But here is exactly what is happening inside your body during that very same moment. You just spent 7 to 9 hours breathing out moisture without replacing a single drop consumed. Your blood is genuinely thicker in the morning than at any other point throughout your day. Your cortisol levels are already elevated simply from the natural process of waking up itself. And the very first thing you pour into that stressed system is a powerful stimulant substance. Caffeine combined with dehydration, combined with elevated cortisol, works exactly like gasoline thrown onto fire. Then you wonder why you feel jittery, anxious, and unexpectedly hungry again by 10 in the morning. Here is something almost nobody ever connects together when thinking about morning hunger cravings honestly. A large portion of what feels like hunger mid-morning is actually thirst wearing a clever disguise. Mild dehydration creates internal signals that your brain consistently misreads as intense food cravings instead. So you eat something unnecessary when your body was actually asking you for water the entire time. The fix here takes roughly 60 seconds and requires absolutely no special equipment or preparation whatsoever. Drink 1 large glass of water with a small pinch of quality mineral salt added.
Do this before consuming anything else, then delay your coffee by 90 full minutes afterward. When caffeine finally arrives inside a hydrated, calmer system, it performs significantly better and lasts much longer. Habit number 3 involves never getting any actual morning sunlight during your entire daily routine consistently. Most people spend the very first hour of their day trapped completely indoors without exception. They wake up inside a dark bedroom, then walk through a house lit only by artificial lighting. They sit down at a computer desk illuminated by harsh fluorescent office lighting overhead constantly. Their body never actually receives the biological signal that the new day has genuinely started yet. This matters significantly more than most people realize when they first hear this simple fact. Your body operates using an internal clock called your circadian rhythm that governs countless daily functions. That internal clock controls exactly when cortisol rises, when melatonin falls, and insulin sensitivity throughout your day. Insulin happens to be the only fat storage hormone your entire body actually produces naturally. Your circadian clock functions as one of insulin's primary biological regulators throughout each 24-hour cycle. When that clock never gets properly reset each morning, insulin sensitivity suffers throughout your entire day. The exact same meal your body could normally handle efficiently becomes a much bigger fat storage trigger. Research consistently confirms this connection directly through measurable, peer-reviewed scientific data collected from real participants. People who get natural sunlight exposure during the day show measurably lower fasting insulin levels overall. Their insulin sensitivity improves significantly, even after researchers account for existing differences in body fat percentage. Interestingly, this effect works in the completely opposite direction as well during evening hours specifically. Bright artificial light exposure during evening hours actually increases insulin resistance and raises post-meal blood sugar. Light exposure is not simply about improving your mood or feeling more awake and alert. Light functions as an actual, measurable fat loss tool that almost nobody currently takes advantage of. The fix here costs absolutely nothing and requires no special equipment or subscription whatsoever to implement. Spend 10 to 30 minutes outside within the first hour after you wake up daily. Skip the sunglasses if possible, since even overcast, cloudy skies deliver enough light to reset your clock. Habit number 4 is eating a high-carbohydrate breakfast, and this one genuinely surprises most people. This happens to be the exact mistake wellness influencers make publicly and repeatedly every single day. The bowl of oatmeal, the slice of whole grain toast, the granola topped generously with fresh fruit, the yogurt drizzled with sweet honey, the orange juice served alongside a supposedly healthy bran muffin. All of it gets marketed aggressively as the responsible, health-conscious choice for your morning meal. All of it, unfortunately, does the exact same damaging thing to your blood sugar levels regardless. Here is precisely what happens inside your body when you eat that particular type of breakfast. Your blood sugar was calm and perfectly stable after a full night of natural fasting overnight. Then, you suddenly pour a large pile of carbohydrates directly into that previously calm system. Your blood sugar shoots upward rapidly, forcing your pancreas to release a large burst of insulin. When insulin levels are high, your body switches directly into fat storage mode instead of burning fat. Then, roughly 90 minutes later, your blood sugar comes crashing back down hard and fast. Your brain panics immediately and sends one single urgent signal demanding more carbohydrates right now.
So you reach for a quick snack, and the entire exhausting roller coaster cycle starts over again. You essentially remain trapped in fat storage mode from early morning until you finally fall asleep. Researchers at a major university scanned participant brains after high-protein versus high-carbohydrate breakfasts specifically. The protein group showed measurably reduced brain activity linked directly to intense food cravings afterward. This reduction happened through actual, measurable changes in brain activity, not simply through willpower or discipline. The exact same total calories, but a completely different first meal produced a completely different daily outcome. Protein consumed first genuinely changes your entire day's trajectory in a measurable, significant way. Aim for roughly 30 grams of protein in your very first meal each morning consistently. Watch closely what happens to your afternoon cravings once you consistently make this simple switch. Habit number 5 involves eating food the very second you wake up each morning consistently. Most people find themselves standing in their kitchen within 5 minutes of first opening their eyes. It feels like the responsible, healthy thing to do, fueling up early before starting your day. But here is exactly what you are interrupting every single time you rush to eat immediately. While you were sleeping last night, something genuinely beneficial was quietly happening inside your body. Your insulin levels dropped down to their lowest point of the entire 24-hour day. Your body finally started pulling stored energy directly from fat reserves during those overnight hours. That overnight fat-burning window is completely real, and it holds genuine, measurable metabolic value. But the moment you eat, especially carbohydrates, insulin spikes upward and that valuable window slams shut immediately. You effectively cut off your fat-burning process before you even leave the house each morning. Then you repeat this exact same pattern again tomorrow morning, and the morning after that too. Most people have genuinely never once given their body extra time to stay in fat-burning mode. This approach has nothing to do with extreme fasting or deliberately starving yourself throughout the day. It simply means not sprinting toward the refrigerator the instant your eyes first open each morning. Hydrate first, get outside for some sunlight, and take a short walk before eating anything. By the time you finally sit down to eat, your body gains extra fat-burning time. Your first meal will also feel significantly more satisfying and will genuinely last much longer afterward. The intense hunger you feel immediately after waking is almost always thirst cleverly disguised as hunger. Test this theory yourself with one large glass of water and watch that hunger disappear quickly. Habit number 6 involves sitting down immediately after eating any meal throughout your entire day. You eat breakfast, then you do exactly what almost everybody else does immediately afterward too. You sit down at your desk, climb into your car, or settle onto your living room couch. While you remain completely still and seated, the glucose from that meal has nowhere productive to go. It simply floats around inside your bloodstream, waiting patiently to eventually get cleared out somehow. So your insulin levels keep climbing higher and higher, desperately trying to force that glucose somewhere useful. And unfortunately, that somewhere almost always means directly into long-term fat storage instead. Here is a fascinating study that genuinely changed how I personally think about morning movement entirely. Researchers studying adults at risk for metabolic problems had them take 3 separate 15-minute walks daily. One short walk happened after each individual meal throughout their entire day, every single time. Just 15 minutes per walk, nothing more intense or time-consuming than that simple requirement.
Those 3 short walks controlled blood sugar over 24 hours just as effectively as expected. They worked as well as one single continuous 45-minute walk completed all at once. The precise timing of the walks turned out to be the entire secret behind this discovery. Not the total accumulated duration, but specifically when each individual walk actually took place. Here is exactly why this strategy works so effectively at the cellular level inside your body. When your muscles contract during even a gentle walk, they pull glucose directly from your bloodstream. This happens without your body needing to rely on insulin to accomplish that same task. It works essentially like opening a convenient side door to clear sugar before storage even begins. You are completely bypassing the fat storage hormone pathway entirely through this simple walking strategy. Just 10 to 15 minutes after your very first meal is the only investment required here. Stack this walk together with your morning sunlight exposure for 2 powerful benefits simultaneously combined. Same total time invested, same physical effort required, but genuinely double the overall metabolic benefit gained. Habit number 7 is starting your entire day already trapped in full survival mode consistently. This particular habit functions as the master villain hiding quietly behind everything else on this list. Picture a completely typical morning experienced by most people living busy modern lives today. Phone the instant they wake up, coffee consumed before any water, rushing hurriedly to get dressed, depressing news playing loudly in the background, constantly suggesting the entire world is falling apart somehow, notifications buzzing repeatedly every few minutes, plus frustrating traffic during their entire morning commute afterward. A calendar completely packed with stressful meetings scheduled before 9 in the morning even arrives. One stressor stacks directly on top of another, which stacks on top of yet another stressor. Your body genuinely cannot tell the difference between simply being late and facing real physical danger. It cannot distinguish between an upcoming deadline and an actual predator chasing you down aggressively. All your body reads is one single unified signal screaming danger throughout your entire nervous system. So it floods your system with cortisol and keeps those levels elevated for hours afterward consistently. Chronically elevated cortisol does something extremely specific and measurable to your body's fat storage patterns. It instructs your metabolism to store fat specifically in one location above every other option available, directly around your vital organs, your liver, kidneys, pancreas, deep inside your belly where you cannot see it. It keeps forming there until one single day you simply cannot ignore its presence anymore. Survival mode and fat-burning mode can genuinely never coexist together inside the same body simultaneously. Your body will absolutely never release stored fat while it genuinely believes it faces real danger. This is not some biological flaw or mistake built into your system by accident somehow. This is your survival instinct doing precisely what it was originally designed to do naturally. Now here comes the realization that genuinely changes everything you thought you understood before today. Not one single habit from this entire list actually involved the food that you ate. Not one of them involved intense exercise, willpower, discipline, or anything resembling personal failure whatsoever. Every single one of them functioned purely as a signal sent directly to your metabolism instead. Change those specific signals, and your body will genuinely change its answer to match them. Here is the exact complete routine that flips every single one of those 7 signals immediately. 7 simple steps, one carefully designed for each individual habit we just covered together today.
You can realistically complete this entire routine within the very first hour of your day. Step 1 involves avoiding your phone completely for the first 30 minutes after waking up. Let your cortisol rise naturally without piling artificial urgency directly on top of it unnecessarily. Your nervous system wakes up genuinely calm instead of already sitting in defense mode immediately. Step 2 involves drinking water with added minerals before consuming absolutely anything else that morning. 1 large glass combined with a small pinch of high-quality salt works perfectly well. Rehydrate your entire system first before introducing any stimulants like caffeine into the equation. This single step alone eliminates a genuinely surprising amount of unnecessary mid-morning hunger consistently. Step 3 involves getting real sunlight exposure within the first 30 minutes of your day. Skip the sunglasses whenever possible, even during overcast, cloudy mornings without direct sunlight visible. Just 10 to 30 minutes outside properly sets your circadian clock for the entire day. It simultaneously improves your insulin sensitivity throughout the remaining hours of your entire day ahead. Step 4 involves taking a 10 to 15-minute walk while you get that sunlight exposure. This combines 2 genuinely powerful benefits into one single efficient habit requiring 0 extra time. Step 5 involves delaying your coffee consumption by a full 90 minutes after waking up. Allow cortisol to complete its natural job first before introducing caffeine into your bloodstream. When caffeine finally arrives inside a calmer, properly hydrated system, it works significantly better overall. It also lasts considerably longer throughout your day without triggering an uncomfortable crash later on.
Step 6 involves building your very first meal around a solid foundation of quality protein. Aim for at least 30 grams total, whether from eggs, Greek yogurt, or whatever fits your life. Protein consumed first genuinely shuts down that exhausting blood sugar roller coaster completely and effectively. It kills persistent cravings for hours afterward without requiring you to fight your own brain constantly. Step 7 involves walking for 10 minutes immediately after finishing that very first meal consistently. This pulls glucose directly out of your bloodstream through that same convenient side door mentioned earlier. It happens before insulin ever gets the chance to force that glucose into fat storage. That complete routine represents the entire strategy, requiring no special equipment or significant extra time. Now, here is what I genuinely need you to understand before you finish watching this video. You are not lazy, and you are certainly not broken in any meaningful way whatsoever. Your metabolism has never actually turned against you or worked deliberately to sabotage your efforts. Your body has simply been doing exactly what it was originally designed to do naturally. It has been responding faithfully to the signals you handed it every single morning unknowingly. Your phone told it danger, your coffee told it stress, before you even realized what happened. The missing sunlight told your body that the day had genuinely never actually started yet. That high-carbohydrate breakfast told your body to spike upward, then crash downward repeatedly throughout your morning. Eating immediately after waking closed your valuable fat-burning window far earlier than truly necessary. Sitting down after meals kept your insulin levels elevated for significantly longer than they needed to be. And starting your day already in survival mode told your body to hold on to every pound. Not one of those 7 things was ever genuinely about the food you were eating. Not one of them was ever truly about your willpower or your personal level of discipline. None of it, absolutely none of it, was ever genuinely your fault to begin with.